And we're back. Welcome back to Philosophy Roulette. This is episode 27. This morning, we're doing some stuff forthcoming from analysis. We did a new cosmological argument from grounding and a patch to the possibility of a patch to the possibility part of Gödel's ontological argument. I got a nice thank you note from Johan Gustafsson, so I appreciate that. Thanks for watching the video. He actually responded and said that long footnote that I skipped in the video actually did answer one of my concerns, so that's good to know that he was on top of these things. Yeah, so going right down the page, let's just see what else we got. Oh, did he get 2 papers in this? That's sort of amazing. Well, okay. I don't know, maybe they're doing some sort of special thing and he is like editing, I have no idea. But whatever. I'm not gonna do. Let's see this one. Adam Elga. Let's see if this is here. Let's see what this is. What is this? I mean, am I going to act out a... I don't know if I'm up for this. Like... Am I going to act out this little scene and do the stuff? You know, I mean, I kind of have to at this point. This is terrible, though. Like, I don't really know if I'm up for the, like, the responsibility. Oh, you never know what you're gonna get sometimes. That's why it's roulette. For anyone in the chat, you can... just type exclamation point paper into the chat room and you'll get the link back. So if you show up and just for future reference, if you are here and you don't see the link there, you can type, let me just show you, and you'll see the link pops right back up. So that's useful. And if you're watching this later on the YouTubes, I'll have the link in the description below. Okay then. This is going to be very interesting. Wait, am I on the right number? Oh man, I don't even know if I'm... Well, let me check if I'm on the right number. I think I'm on maybe I'm on Philosophy Roulette number 29. I looked at the wrong spot earlier. Oh yeah, I'm on Philosophy Roulette number 29, so let's fix that. How time flies. Okay, Philosophy Roulette 29, not 27, because I can't count. Okie dokie. Scene 1. Professor Causey in full tweed and Miss Neutra, a potential donor, walk down the hall of a gleaming research building. Causey: and so do you see that our experimental causal decision-making lab has state-of-the-art facilities which, pardon me for a moment. Causey reaches down to what looks like an electrical outlet along the wall and sticks his finger in the socket. A buzzing sound is heard. Ouch! Anyway, I was saying, these facilities are excellent. Neutra says, sorry to interrupt, but are you alright? Causey: oh, I'm fine. Just a modest electrical shock from putting my finger in the outlet. No permanent damage. Ah, I see we are approaching another outlet. Excuse me. Causey puts his finger in another outlet and another buzzing sound is heard. Causey: yowza! Why do you keep putting your finger in those outlets? Causey: to reduce the amount of electrical shocking I experience, of course. Neutra pauses. I'm confused. It looks like every time you put your finger in an outlet, you get painfully shocked. Yes. But I and the other passers-by who don't touch the outlets don't get shocked. Yes. And you expect that pattern to continue? Yes. So why stick your finger in? Didn't I tell you a moment ago to reduce getting shocked? Or perhaps you don't know that we have special outlets in this building. They are called Libet Ahmed Newcomb outlets, LANs for short. Here's how they operate. Each outlet has a brain scanner. Whenever someone approaches the outlet scans nearby brains to determine whether the person approaching the outlet is likely to stick her finger in. If so, the outlet activates program A. Otherwise, it activates program B. What do those programs do? Program A has the outlet deliver a shock upon being touched, but if it is not touched, then it remotely delivers a slightly stronger shock to the person who approached. Program B has the outlet never deliver any shocks, but has it play a pleasing melody if someone touches it. Here's a decision table for you. Okay, so program A, and it predicts the touch. When there's no touch, it's a very bad shock, and if you touch it, you get a regular shock. Plan B predicts no touch, so when you don't touch it, but if you do touch it, you get a nice medley. As you can see, if program A is running, one is better off touching it to get a regular shock than a worse shock. If the outlet is running program B, one is also better off touching it to hear the nice melody. And the time one makes one's decision, the outlet has irrevocably chosen its program. So one is guaranteed to do better by touching the outlet. Fascinating. Yes, the original funder of the building, Dr. Newcomb, had some eccentric requirements. I see we are approaching an outlet. Reaches down and is zapped by it. Arg! I suggest that now you know how these outlets operate, you'll be sticking your finger in. Nutra: no thank you. Walks past the outlet without incident. Causey: oh, quite irrational of you. A shame. You missed out on hearing a wonderful melody. Nutra: you heard it? Actually, no. The brain scanners in these outlets are inferentially accurate. To my knowledge, no one has yet heard the melody, and no one has yet been shocked by the stronger shock. But you expect one of those to happen soon? No. I see. Pauses. Is it not a workplace safety issue to have outlets around with the potential to remotely shock people? I noticed that other students, not to mention children and some pet cats, wander through the building. We worried about that, but it turned out not to be a problem. The cats rarely touch the outlets, and when one does, it gets shocked and takes care not to touch outlets in the future. And incoming freshmen are informed about how these outlets are designed. They are by and large irrational. They don't put their fingers in. Haven't had the benefit of my advanced causal decision course yet. Ha ha ha. So children, animals, and freshmen are safe and don't get shocked. Is it just shock avoiding experts such as yourself who stick their fingers in the outlets and receive shocks? Yes. Blinkies. Hey, I can actually blink on video. How do you like that? The strange thing is, so far as their outward appearance and observed behavior goes, these LANs look like just ordinary electrical outlets. In fact, only last week I learned that the outlets on one floor up from here are ordinary outlets. Turns out I had been sticking my fingers in them completely unnecessarily. Now I know not to do it. Thanks very much for the tour. Scene 2. Okay. This is very, very, very silly. I mean, I guess that one should be pleased that things like this still get published. It is 1 week later. Nutra enters a building marked Evidential Altruism Lab. Oh, does she just have the bad luck of going to all these crazy places? Good for her. And knocks on an office door. Evidentia. Come in. Ah, Miss Nutra. Nice to meet you. I am Professor Evidentia. Welcome. I take it that last week you met Professor Causey and heard about his theories. Yes, he kept shocking himself. So sad. Anyway, you'll find none of that today. Here at the Evidential Altruism Lab, we always choose so as to minimize the expected number of shocks people receive. That's a relief. Speaking of altruism, Evidentia says, I will now subject you to a painful shock. Takes out an electric stun gun and prepares to fire it. Wait, stop. What are you doing? Evidentia. Shocking you, for your own sake, of course, to reduce the expected number of shocks you receive. Okay, I get it. You mean that shocking me now will prevent me from getting even worse shock in the future? Then I'm sorry to hear about the whole situation, but I guess I'll just grit my teeth and bear this one shock for the sake of its future good effects. Evidentiary. Adjusting stun gun. No, you've misunderstood. The shock I'm about to administer won't cause any good effects at all. To you or anyone else. Its only relevant causal consequence will be the pain you feel. No good effects? Pure pain for no reason? How can this help me? Evidentia. Perhaps Professor Causey didn't explain all the features of our building. Do you see that device? Points up to look like a smoke detector in the building. That is one of our decision prediction units, DPUs. Last week I noted in my calendar that you would be visiting today. In response, the DPU scanned our brains to predict whether I would shock you. If it predicted I would shock you, it left you alone last week. But if it predicted that I would refrain, then it would ensure that last week you received 20 shocks, each as painful as the one delivered by this gun. Here's a decision table for you below. I've crossed out those outcomes. I'm almost certain it didn't happen. Okay. So, it's if the DPU predicted the shock, then it gets one shock today, but no shock, and it crosses out the no shocks. But then if DPU predicted no shocks, 21 shocks total, and you get 20 shocks otherwise. Neutra. That's horrifying, but there's nothing to be done now about shocks I may or may not have received last week, so that information is not relevant to your current decision. Evidentially, actually, it is highly relevant, for I know that DPUs are excellent predictors. So 1, if I shock you now, you will almost certainly end up experiencing 1 shock in total. And 2, if I refrain now, you'll almost certainly end up experiencing 20 shocks in total, delivered last week. So shocking you reduces the total number of shocks I expect that you receive. Rationality, altruism, and simple kindness all demand that I shock you. Well, 1 and 2 are not both true. I assure you, shocking me now cannot help me. Well, from your point of view, I can see why you're saying that. But you must understand that as an evidential altruist, I must act in light of my evidence. Okay, I see where this is going. I'm pretty sure what you're going to decide, but let me try to reason with you anyway. Neutra. Feel free. You admit that I have relevant evidence that you lack, memory of whether I was shocked last week, that I prefer you not to shock me, and that I would continue to do so even if you shared with me all of your relevant evidence. Of course. You agree we share the goal of minimizing number of shocks I experience? Yes. So if you share all your evidence with me, then you'd know of a reasonable person with your goals and strictly stronger evidence that they prefer you refrain from shocking. Doesn't that count for something in this case? Evidentia. No. And starts to pull the trigger. A lot of trigger pull distance on this stun gun. Wait, this is a long shot, but let me give you my evidence. Then you might not thinking shocking me will help. Last week, what happened was Evidentia puts fingers in own ears. La 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 la. I'm not listening to you. La 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 la. Alright. What are you doing? Removes fingers from ears. Sorry, I had to stop you from telling me about what happened last week. If you had told me, regardless of whether you had told me that you were shocked or that you weren't shocked, I would have to come to think that shocking you now wouldn't serve no purpose and indeed would be cruel and inhumane. So I wouldn't have shocked you. So the DPU would have last week predicted that I wouldn't shock you, and that would have ensured that you were last week shocked 20 times. So for your sake, I can't let you tell me what happened last week. Stunned silence. An administrator burst into the room. There has been a mistake. Last week, the DPU did not scan Professor Evidentia. It actually scanned Miss Neutra instead. If it predicted Miss Neutra would today decide to give a shock to Professor Evidentia, it left everyone alone last week. But if it predicted that Miss Neutra would refrain today, then it ensured that last week Professor Evidentia received 20 shocks. So now I must decide whether to shock her, says Neutra pointing at Evidentia. Administrator plucks the stun gun out of Professor Evidentia's hands. Yes, hands the stun gun to Ms. Neutra and exits. Neutra, I don't want to shock anyone. Evidentia, but you are to reduce the number of shocks you expect me to receive. You must. Neutra, this is difficult for me, but I see where you're coming from. If I shock you now, you'll almost certainly receive a total of just 1 shock. But if I refrain, you'll almost certainly receive a total of 20. So if I'm rational and kind, I should shock you, and I shouldn't let you tell me whether you have been shocked last week. Now you've got the hang of it. Neutra, if you want me to shock you, points the gun at Evidentia. Wait, I don't want you to shock me. Yeah, you could get yourself into some nice paradoxes with this stuff. Neutra lowers stun gun. What? Didn't you just agree that the rational, kind thing for me to do is shock you for your own good? Yes, but that is all true, but I prefer you don't shock me. Why? Shocking me slightly increases the expected number of shocks I suffer. We already agreed, I should think shocking you reduces the number of expected shocks you should suffer. Well, from your point of view, I can see why you're saying that, but you must understand that as an evidential altruist, I must prefer and hope in the light of my evidence. I hope that you act irrationally and or unkindly and refrain from shocking me. Neutra places the gun on the table. Thanks very much for the tour. Scene 3. Just as an aside, there are so many weird things that happen when you do stuff. Like, I built something online a while back, and it got actually one or two other people cared, and it was nice, and they liked it, but there was an old joke from the 90s. There's a website called Slashdot, and they called it Slashdot because if you tell someone the name Slashdot, they don't know how to go http:///dot.com, and they don't know how many slashes there are, and it's like, of all the dumb joke, and it came back and bit me in the butt 20 years later. It's like, this is the sort of thing, you do stuff and you get bit in the butt for weird reasons, unpredictable stuff. Scene 3. All these people need to just whoever built this building is a madman, but that's okay. Several days later, Neutra, Causey, and Evidentia sip coffees at a restaurant. Neutra: I don't mean to be rude, but you are both totally irrational. Professor Causey, please stop sticking your fingers in LAN outlets. And Professor Evidentia, please stop shocking people for the sake of reducing shocks they may or may not have received by the DPU a full week prior. Causey: wait, you think both of us are irrational? Neutra: bonkers, in fact. How odd. Remarkable. But surely almost everyone in your profession thinks that you two act irrationally. That is just common sense. Cause actually, a substantial fraction of decision theorists hold views that say I have acted rationally, and a substantial fraction of decision theorists hold views that say I have acted rationally. Almost no decision theorists hold views that say neither of us has acted irrationally. Indeed, aside from inessential window dressing, the two choice situations are the same. If you think that one should avoid sticking one's fingers in LAN outlets, you should also think that you should shock in the DPU situation. And if you think that one should refrain from shocking in the DPU situation, you should also think that one should stick one's fingers in LAN outlets. So we ask, what decision rule do you endorse that says both of us have acted irrationally? Curtain, references, and oh my god, I can't believe I just read that. So, yeah, this was an philosophical act in 3 parts, and at the Newcomb University? Yeah. Well, playing 1 act, 3 parts, 3 scenes. Okay, and basically what have we set up? Was I think the deal here is there's way too many people it's a question of how much you trust your authority. It's appeals to authority in these situations. You've got these absolute authorities in the LAN device and the DPU device, and when you do such things like having LAN the absolute authority in devices, then you get yourself into these troubles where you have to follow the decision procedures given by those devices. But this is why one of the problems with decision theory is if you drink the Kool-Aid, as it were, for your decision theory, you can get yourself into trouble. You have to actually know that the decision procedure that you say is applicable is the actual way the world is. That's the problem. Whereas noted up here, where they said, oh, actually the outlets upstairs are normal outlets, but you didn't know that. And so you didn't know that the decision procedure you were attributing to the world was the actual way the world existed. And you have to be able to discount authority in some sense, and that's the one thing that's not happening here, is that you either following decision procedure without questioning the entire decision procedure itself and where they got that information. If the decision procedure is less supported than the results of the decision procedure, then you have reason for doubting the whole thing. It's like it's a reductio ad absurdum. So that's what's going on in some sense, and it's spelled out kind of in a fun way in this little play. Now the question is, I don't actually know what the sociology of decision theorists are, so I don't know if this end situation is the case that either you're going to be in one of these two camps, evidentia or causae, and so there may be a dilemma for decision theorists here, but that's a different problem. Yeah. So, thanks for watching. I'll be back in 5 minutes. I'm gonna cut the stream. I'll put up a little sign. I'll be back in like 5-10 minutes. And I'll be back just because I don't want to have to video edit. But if you want to suggest something for me to read, leave me a note. And if you want to get the copy of this, just hit !paper in the chat. So, I'll be back in a few minutes. Thanks for watching.